The road to $10,000 runs through the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is round number 14 of 18 on the Nascar IRacing.com, a series world championship, and we are getting ready to go racing for 163 laps around the beautiful Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tim Terry and Joe Cortez here to call all the action, and we are getting ready to go racing here tonight, Joe. It's 43 cars around this fantastic little racetrack.
A fantastic little racetrack is putting it very short, Tim. Atlanta Motor Speedway has been a staple on the Sprint Cup series since the dawn of time. It's the fastest speedway these cars go to year after year, and tonight we're going to be in for a treat as these very qualified, very highly talented NASCAR iRacing.com series world champion drivers take on this very tricky Atlanta track. Look for very fast racing, look for very quick two-line racing, as there definitely is two grooves that these guys can roll around here over and over again.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. One of these races that sometimes comes down to fuel mileage. We are going to look into this in just a few moments' time. We'll look at points. We'll look at what goes on in this event, in this series. First of all, though, let's go to Brian Blackford and Hot Laps.
Hey iRacers, I'm Brian Blackford, driver the number 33 Ford in the NASCAR iRacing Series World Championship. This is episode 14 of Hot Laps, and I'm going to take you around Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alright, we're going to hit the line at 200, we're going to hit 207 in turn 1. Turn in a little bit late and get back down to that white line a little bit later than you'd expect to come off. It's actually a pretty short back straightaway. You spend a lot of time in the turns here. Take a pretty shallow entry into turn 3. Make sure you get to that white line. That's the most important part about 3 and 4. Come off, slide up towards the wall, and we're going to run at 28.48. Turns 1 and 2 are quite a bit different from turns 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is a longer turn, so you're going to have more time to heat up the tires, which means the car's not going to handle great off the turn. The banking goes away really quickly off turn 2. You've got to be very careful to make sure your car is set up right, to make sure you get it through this turn okay on the long run. You've got to be easier on the throttle pedal later into the run through turns 1 and 2 than you do 3 and 4. Ease down on the throttle as opposed to slamming it down. One of the most common mistakes I see at Atlanta is people set their car up too tight in order to make it through a long run. A lot of people, they set up their car a little too tight at the beginning because they think it's gonna stay that way throughout the whole run, but it actually tightens up quite a bit. A lot of the slower drivers you'll see tonight, they're gonna be lifting off that turn. The faster drivers, they're gonna hold that bottom line, that white line, longer than the cars that are in the back. They're going to shoot up towards the wall very, very late compared to the slower drivers. In order to be fast on a long run, you have to be a little edgy at the beginning of the run in order to make sure you don't get too tight. Because of this, you'll see a lot of people get loose, and since everybody is so close in speed, it's easy for somebody to just hit that guy a little bit more sideways than he already is and cause a big mess. Here at Atlanta, qualifying is pretty important, mainly because you don't want to get caught up in a crash. There's going to be a large line of cars lined up on the bottom, and if any one of those cars has to check up for any reason, it can start a big crash and ruin your race right from the get-go. So it is really important to qualify well, and you'll see probably the winners start from the top 10 at least tonight. To win a race at Atlanta, it takes quite a lot of patience. There's going to be times where somebody gets shuffled back who has a fast car, and they're just going to have to take their time and work their way back up through the field. If there's a lot of cautions, it's going to be hard for one driver to dominate the whole race. There's going to be too many different pit strategies, and you're going to see a lot of shuffling among the front runners. If the race goes green, it's very possible that somebody could lead green to checker, but that's probably not going to happen. Making sure you got a good setup is pretty important here at Atlanta. You probably need to pick up about 2 or 3 tenths from the baseline setup in order to be competitive and running in the top 15 tonight. In 2 weeks, we'll be at Kansas Motor Speedway. This is iRacing's newest oval track. It's going to be a lot of fun. There will be many different groups that we'll be able to run, but first things first, we're going to get through tonight. I'm looking forward to this race. It's definitely been one of my better tracks in the past. Hopefully we put on a good show for you guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
So there is Hot Laps, and we are now getting ready to go at it for 163 hot laps around this racetrack, and 42 strong, getting ready to take the green flag. One thing that we see as well, and we've seen it in the last couple of weeks, Joe, there's a lot of pros in this race, but there's also some new pros that we haven't really seen a whole lot of, and we'll see here this evening. Guys like Nick Morse is going to start in position number 19. Benjamin Burmeister's a name we haven't heard in a long time. He's going to start in position number 18. Looking down the list, you have Charlie Foster going to start 41st. Tom Mustaka is going to start in position number 39. He was here on our last race as well. But there's a lot of new names coming up here, graduating through that pro rank, or the A-class rank, to get into this series. Going to make things interesting, I think, tonight.
Tim, this is the time of the season where you really start seeing those guys who graduated through the ranks start to come up and make their NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship debuts. So they're going to definitely make this race a very interesting race because you've got a lot of old experience coming against a lot of new experience. It's going to be very interesting to see if we might have a changing of the guard here and throughout the end of the season.
And when you look at the point standings, changing of the guard, at least at that first place position, probably, I shouldn't say probably won't happen. There's still 4 races left to go. This series, especially with all the factors that you can vary in, are fairly unpredictable. Ray Alfala, though, has a big lead. You see it on your screen when you look at drop. So when you factor in the one drop race, these drivers take their best 17 starts, and that's what counts towards a championship. Ray Alfala has a 45-point lead on Brian Schoenberg when it comes to that drop. So Ray Alfala is going to, in these next 4 races, need maybe a little bit of bad luck in order to open this championship picture open. Because when you look at it, Marcus Lindsay and Tyler Hudson and Nick Ottinger and Mike Conti are really right there. There's only about 24 points or so that separates first and sixth when you factor in that drop. So it's Ray. I don't want to say it's Ray Alfala's championship to lose right now, Joe. He's been down this road before. He knows how to win and lose championships. But if you're Ray Alfala, you really control your own destiny right now. You have a big cushion, but if you have a bad race, that cushion evaporates, and once again, it's wide open.
Very absolutely. And when you look at the starting order we have tonight, Nick Ottinger in second, Brian Schoenberg in third, Michael Conti in sixth. It's definitely anything can happen in this situation. Ray Alfala has to start seventh tonight, so he does have a little bit of traffic in front of him, a lot of traffic that would love to see him not finish this race in one piece. Also of note, the 0-1 machine of Tyler Hudson starts 21st, so he's got a long way to climb too as well if he wants to make his way up and try to still be a name that can compete for this year's championship.
And when you look at the battle for 20th, Joe, that is the bubble spot to qualify in quickly before we go to the grid. Keep an eye on this battle spot. You got Jake Sturgis, Danny Hansen, Chad Coleman right now with the drop in at 18, 19, 20. And then you have Joey Brown, Jason Karlavich, Andrew Fayash on the outside looking in. Keep that in mind. And speaking of Joey Brown, when we go down the starting grid, we're going to find Joey Brown in the pole. This could be a make-or-break race for this 12 Barley Electrical Chevrolet. He starts on the pole with Nick Ottinger to the outside in the 05.
Row number 2 on the inside, the Ciabudo Gaming Cockpits machine of Brian Schoenberg starting third. On the outside of him, the 83, the JDR graphics-sponsored machine of Jared Crawford starting fourth.
We've got Brad Davies starting in position number 5 in the 11 to the outside, Mike Conti in the 5.
Mr. Two-Time himself, Ray Alfala in the 2 machine. The Pro Geek Consulting Ford Fusion starts 7th. Thomas Lewandowski in the unsponsored 16 starts 8th.
We got a couple of pro drivers in row number 5. It's Brian Day to the inside and Ashley Miller to the outside in the 7.
Michael J. Johnson in the 39 machine starts 11th. Outside of him, a veteran of sim racing, Kevin King in the Alpine Stars machine starts 12th.
Field begins to roll. You have Brandon Hawk on the inside in position number 13 to the outside. Another one of the drivers on the bubble, 20, Danny Hansen.
Marcus Lindsay, the number 1 machine, starts 15th. Outside of him, Josh Lawton in the 40 starts 16th.
Next up on the grid, you got Adam Gilliland in the 81 to the outside. From Germany, it's Benjamin Burmeister.
Row number 10 belongs to Nicholas Morris on the inside. Outside of him, the 22 of Rob Ackley.
His championship chances hang in the balance this evening. Tyler Hudson in the 01 starts 21st to the outside. 93, Byron Daly.
Row number 12, Carson McClellan on the inside. Outside of him, the 42 of Dylan Duvall starts 24th.
Former Pro Series champion Alex Warren starts in position number 25, and Brandon Cattell to the upside.
Peter Bennett starts in position number 27 in the 69 machine. Tyler Lofton in the 51 starts 28th.
Paul Kashiba, Brandon Bowie, 29th and 30th.
Row 16, Jake Sturgis on the inside, Brian Blackford on the outside.
It's John Adams and Andrew Vash, the third, your next row.
Row 18, Chad Coleman starts on the inside. Landon Harrison, the last person to take time, starts on the outside.
First 2 provisionals on the field, Kevin Burris and Patrick Baldwin.
Tom Bastakis, Josh Berry, Charlie Foster, Carson Downs round out your field of 42 here as we get ready to go. Green flag racing, Tim Terry.
Pace car is in, and it's the 12 of Joey Brown going to lead this field to green, and we are underway for the first of 163 laps around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Top 3 quickly single file. 4th place, Jarrett Crawford trying to find a spot in line. He will in position number 4, and it's the top 6 now. Single file, it's side by side, about around Kevin King or so, as King tried to make a move on Ashley Miller.
You got to go all the way back to the battle for position number 12. Danny Hansen on the outside, Brian Day on the inside. That's the first place. These guys are going too wide. Everybody cognizant of the fact that one misstep here can mess up your chances at winning a championship. That's not lost, though, on the battle for second as the 55 of Schoenberg inside the 05 of Nick Ottinger.
And here comes Jared Crawford to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide. He's going to pick up 1 on the 55 of Schoenberg. A little bit of a slide job on the Alberto Gaming Cockpits 55. And now he has to chase down the 05 of Ottinger. Very bold move by Crawford. And here comes Schoenberg once again on the inside, side by side for third now, as the 55 tries to get to the inside of the 83. You think maybe Schoenberg's going to log that in the bank a little bit later on for maybe that 83 if it comes to it?
Schoenberg deciding that discretion is a better part of valor as you ride along the rear bumper of that 55 machine. He's immediately under fire from the 5 of Michael Conti, and behind them both, Ray Alfala. He started 7th. He's still staying in 7th. I think he's biding his time right there. But back to Schoenberg, currently running 4th. Discretion being the better part of valor. He knows if he can't finish this race, if he's got a wrecked up machine, so he's going to go ahead and sit back and just let it ride.
It is single file all the way back to about 11th place. Danny Hansen, I believe it is, trying to make a move here. And he's on the outside of Brian Day. That's the battle for 10th right now as they go side by side for that position. As Brian Day, one of those pro drivers we talk about, Joe, they're trying to get their feet wet for the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, which will run at the end of this season. And the top 20 drivers in that series will make it in to the 2014 NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. So they have a lot to learn here in these final few races of this season.
And everything they do out here, every move they make is absolutely going to be a learning opportunity for them. Every lap they take, they're going to be running with some of the best sim racers from around the world on the track. So this is absolutely going to be an excellent opportunity for them to learn how to manage their everything out there and really be able to be a world-class driver. Kevin King picks up position on the 11 of Brian Davies. That'll put him up to position 8.
You ride on the roof with the 53 of Brandon Hawk. You see the 4 in front of you with Brian Day and the 20 of Danny Hansen. Hansen goes a little wide off corner number 4. Opens the door a little bit for the 4. Trying to get that run on the inside line, but cannot seem to get there. Side by side at around 4th place, Brian Schoenberg is going to lose a couple spots to Mike Conti and Ray Alfala. So move Conti up as Jarrett Crawford now goes to the inside of the 05 of Ottinger. Crawford is on the move early in the JDR Graphics 83. Impressive run so far.
Jared Crawford not one to waste time out here. He's up to 2nd. Meanwhile, the 55 of Schoenberg, he drops 2 positions to 6. Who does he drop position to? Ray Alfala, who breaks in the top 5 for the first time tonight. And Michael Conti, who's now up to 4th. Battle still remains that second place position as Ottinger not letting Jared Crawford get away anytime soon.
Woo! Brian Schoenberg had a handful of steering wheel coming off of corner number 2 that last time by. He was pointed towards the infield in the 55 car, and now he gets it back straight again. It appears that that car is going to need a whole lot of adjustment on this first pit stop of this race whenever it comes, because it's not handling right. The 05 of Ottinger is on the back bumper of the 83 of Jared Crawford.
And as you ride in car with the 05 of Nick Ottinger, currently scored in third, there's less than a car length between him and the 83 of Jared Crawford. I don't think we're done seeing the fireworks go off between these two guys just yet. Let's keep an eye on these two and see where they go. It's Michael Conti still in fourth, Ray Alfalla in fifth. But the guy who I'm really impressed with right now is Kevin King, driving the number 29 Alpine Star Chevrolet. He's up at eighth, and he's already picked up a lot of positions out there. It wouldn't surprise me if he's on the hunt for a win tonight.
Another driver quickly on the move, picking up some positions, 53 of Brandon Hawk. We saw him a little bit earlier. He's now to the outside of the 4 car, side by side. That's at 11th place. Hawk picked up the position, and Brian Day wants it back to the inside as they go side by side for the position. Danny Hansen in front of them, and Michael Johnson chasing them as they go side by side into corner number 1.
And then there's Brian Day, the Pro Series driver currently riding the 4 machine. He's in 12th, but he's immediately trying to challenge Brandon Houck for a position right now. He's on the inside, Houck on the outside. Brian Day doing everything he can to try to pick up position. They remain side by side through 3 and 4, and it's only a matter of time before one of these guys give.
And just behind, you saw Marcus Lindsay pick up a spot. Lindsay will move up to position number 13 as Hawk and a Day side by side in front of them. And Danny Hansen trying to run away from it. Meanwhile, just up in front of them, it looks like Brian Schoenberg has company as he is falling back a couple spots. King and Lewandowski are going to make the move on Schoenberg. Schoenberg is falling like a stone. He's lost 2 more position in this last lap. Joe, I know he's a driver that wants to get everything out of his race car, but you have to believe right now if you're Schoenberg and that car's not handling the way you want to, you kind of got to keep it under you at least until that first caution.
Schoenberg will find a way to keep it under him, but he's also going to try to find a way to keep it within that top 10. Schoenberg is, by and large, a competitor out there first before he is a surrenderer. So he's going to continue to go out there and drive the car for everything it's worth. Even if it's not handling the way he wants to, he'll figure out a way to try to make it work out there. Battle for position number 10. It looks like Brandon Houck will pick up the position on Danny Hansen.
So move Hawk up into the top 10. The 53 will sit in position number 10. You see the 1 of Marcus Lindsay trying to pick his way through the field as well. Now to the inside of Brian Day, or thought about it, going down into corner number 3. Can't get that move done, so he'll pull back behind the number 4 car as we work on lap number 14 of 163. 4 car now to the inside of the 20 as they go side by side for position number 11. It seems like these J-Show cars might not be set up possibly, Joe, for the long run. You see Schoenberg falling back. You see Danny Hansen slowly falling back here in the 20 on the outside line. It might not be a long run setup inside some of these race cars. It's going to get close into 3 between the 1 and the 4.
It's going to get very close to the 1 and the 4. Continue to move back and forth. These guys incredibly close to each other as they continue to go through out there. Meanwhile, back up front, the number 2 of Ray Alfalla picks up another position over Michael Conti. So Alfalla now up in position number 4. And tonight, I think he's trying to look at closing up this season tonight as he just continues to drive towards the front.
He's still got 4 races left to go in this season, including this evening, so he's going to have to, if he can get a good run here, he's not going to be able to clinch until that final race, but he can put 1 foot forward in trying to take his 3rd consecutive championship. You look back from the Pro Geek Consulting Black Magic number 2 to the 5 of Mike Conti as they go down the back straightaway, and it appears that they are losing some time. Ray trying to gain some time on that top 3, because that top 3 you can throw a blanket over them single file between the 12, the 83, and the 05 as they come up at a 4, this time by 17 laps completed.
Alfalla in 4th, Conti in 5th. Kevin King has finally moved his way up to the 6th position. Kevin King started this field in 12th. He's already cut his deficit in half there, and I think Kevin King has a setup tonight that really might be able to go all the way, but only time will tell if Kevin King can move forward.
Yeah, he's got the 5 of Conti, the 2 of Alfala in front of him, and he's actually reeling these two drivers in. The last lap by, King was about a 10th faster or so than the 2 and the 5 car, and once again he does it again, a 29.16 to a 29.28 and a 29.28 for the 2 and the 5 car. So Kevin King is reeling himself into a top 5 run. It's just a matter if he can get past the 2 cars in front of him.
Which is definitely a question considering the talent that he's got in front of him. Go back through the field. Lots of drivers out here, but up front it's going to be Joey Brown, Jared Crawford, Nick Ottinger. The top 3 there on the field. And now it looks like we got somebody really slow on the front straight. That's Marcus Lindsay. It looks like he might have almost blown an engine.
You see him pull down onto the apron. Whatever is wrong, it's something bad for Lindsay because it doesn't look like that car is running very fast at all. So Marcus Lindsay may have maybe too much tape on the setup. Maybe forgot to change the tape setting. It overheated maybe. Whatever the case may be, it appears Marcus Lindsay will be going to pit road, and we will have a caution here.
First caution flag of the night, and it looks like it will be on the number 1. Out there on the field, Marcus Lindsay may have destroyed his engine out there. Coming off of turn number 4, it looked like he lost all of its power and was forced to pull onto the apron and was cruising through the field. So a lot of definitely not the night Marcus Lindsay wanted, and that might kill his championship hopes.
But that wasn't the caution, Joe. 82 and 28 coming off of corner number 2 had a little bit of a moment. The 82 of Alex Warren gets a little bit loose. And as does the 28 car to the inside. Actually, that's Tyler Laughlin. Sorry, Chad Coleman. That's Tyler Laughlin. That's the 51. They both look the same. They're both red and black when you look at them. But 51 goes down to the inside and gets a little bit tail happy, gets into the 82, and Alex Warren comes back up the racetrack. And the core pipe 82 does not collect anybody else. Close call for Andrew Fayash III. But that will bring out your caution flag for the first time this evening on lap number 20. So a tough break for Alex Warren. He just can't seem to catch a break. And we talk about him being a Pro Series champion. He might have to do it again because Alex Warren right now is sitting with the drop 31st in the standings.
And that's not a place you want to be if you're looking to compete next year. Again, only the top 20 from the finals point standings here come through to the next season. Leader's now coming down pit road, and he will bring a litany of friends with him. Pit stops en masse. Joey Brown leads him down.
This is the caution flag that Brian Schoenberg needed. We'll see if they make any adjustments from position number 8 coming down into pit road. That car had a handful, or was a handful, on that green flag run. The 12 of Joey Brown hits his box right here. The Barley Electrical number 12 will go to work on the right-hand side of that Chevrolet SS. They will take 2 tires on the right-hand side. Do they opt to take 4? Yes, they do. 4 tires on the number 12. Does anybody gamble here? Joey Brown is down and away, and he will win the race off pit road with Jarrett Crawford, Michael Conti, Ray Alfala, and Kevin King, your top 5 off pit road. And Nick Ottinger is going to be the big loser. He's going to come out 6th, and he came in 3rd.
Brian Schoenberg comes in 8th, comes out 8th, telling his crew, the car is incredibly tight out there. I need something to loosen it up. So it looks like they took out a little bit of wedge, maybe even a tire pressure adjustment, 4 tires and an adjustment. Brian Schoenberg back on his way, hoping to loosen up that car if he wants to try to make a move going up front.
Let's see if we can tap into the in-car or in-cockpit camera of Byron Daly this evening. We have the in-car camera, of what you call it, at Byron Daly. You can see what he's doing from the comfort of his own home, or his own dorm in this case, working around this Atlanta Motor Speedway. Byron Daly, last time by the stripe, was in position number 21 prior to the pit stop in the Bandit Chippers. Number 93, we'll see where he shakes out in his Ford Fusion this time by the stripe. But Byron Daly is one of those drivers, Joe, that I talked to him a little bit earlier on this evening. He says he wants to go out and finish well and race well, but he's also keeping that fact in mind that he wants to get a little bit of money out of this season because he's running for a top 10 spot in the point standings right now in 14th place, and not too far behind the 10th place driver, Matt Busa, who I believe is not joining us this evening, so you'll have to, if you're Byron Daly, you got to get up on the wheel tonight.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but if I understand this correctly, top 5 walk away with cash, top 10, the second 5 walk away with at least some form of compensation, be it cash or iRacing credit or some combination thereof. So top 10 makes it worth their while to come out every other week and race this very competitive field. The 43s, the best sim drivers in all the world, coming out week in, week out. And, you know, if you get that payout at the end of the year, especially that $10,000 check for winning the championship, that definitely makes it worth your while.
If you're new to iRacing, you like what you see here, it's $10,000 for the champion of this series, the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And the winner of this series gets to go down to Homestead Miami Speedway, get the check on stage prior to driver introductions at Ford Championship Weekend. Gets the ring, gets everything else. If you're looking to get involved in iRacing, head over to iRacing.com. They have member promos running all the time. Be sure to sign up. And you could see yourself in this series in the coming seasons battling with guys like Ray Alfalla and Kevin King and Michael Conti and Brian Schoenberg. Sign up, get used to the 8-car, work your way up the ranks, and you could be here sooner rather than later, Joe. iRacing.com, the place to go, as we're doubled up and ready to go green.
Green flag getting ready to go flying next time around. Joey Brown will lead them down. Jared Crawford second, Michael Conti third, Ray Alfalla fourth, and Kevin King finds his way to fifth. Nick Ottinger sixth, Lewandowski seventh, Schoenberg eighth, Hawk ninth. Danny Hansen rounds out your top 10. A very eclectic group here, and Joey Brown about to be immediately under fire by some of the biggest names in sim racing.
Joey Brown already a winner this season, but other than that, the season has been a little bit of a rocky slate for the 12 team. We'll see what he can do here. See if he can turn it around and win this race at Atlanta this evening. Pace car is in and the 12 car is gone. Green flag flies, and the 5 and the 83 are left to fend for position number 2. The 5 of Mike Conti underneath the 83 of Jared Crawford, side by side with Conti taking the spot. And here comes the 29 of Kevin King, not wasting any time on this restart. He's up to position number 4 and looking at third on the 83. Big bobble off corner number 2.
Almost 3 wide for a second there as Kevin King was under fire from Nick Ottinger and company. Ottinger electing not to push the issue. He will stay in position number 6. Kevin King in 5th, but now they're starting to double up behind him. Battle now is for that 7th position with the number 55 of Schoenberg and the 16 of Lewandowski. Schoenberg pulls away, but they continue running 2 double file behind him.
Side by side back here, one driver into the wall, and I'm not sure who that was. That might have been Hawk in the 53. The 20 is on the inside of him. Peter Bennett thought about sticking it 3 wide, about 4 lengths back here in the 69 car as he sees the 01 and 11 side by side. Tyler Hudson on the outside falling back as you see the 53 of Brandon Hawk finding a spot in the line behind the number 20. Adam Gilliland is there as well. You have the 11 of Brad Davies, and then it's side by side, or was side by side, as Peter Bennett has Tyler Hudson now to the back bumper.
Side by side now for second as they continue to do battle. It's 83 and 5. Jared Crawford has the advantage, but Michael Conti won't let it go. They're going to continue to go back and forth going into turns 1 and 2 on lap 29. But the wild card here, Jared Crawford has the advantage of Ray Alfalla. Alfalla getting behind him, and that might be just enough push he needs to get that position. Jared Crawford has the advantage in 3 and 4.
5 car on the upside, the 2 of Alfalla to the inside. Does he stick it into the inside? Yes, he does. The 5 of Mike Conti to the outside. The 29 of Kevin King will look to make this a 3-way dance. The 5 has a line there. The 2 trying to possibly make his way to the inside, and he will not do so in 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway we go, and Joey Brown is out by 4 lengths over the battle for position number 2. I saw Byron Daly in the 93 way back in the corner stick it in 3 wide on the inside at about position number 15, and he is going to take a spot on the 9 and look at the 11.
And Byron Daly continues to mount for position as he tries to get around the 11. Officially scored 14th that time by, but he needs a little bit of help to officially get around the 11 and get back into place. Meanwhile, in front of them, it's Adam Gilliland and Tyler Hudson Josh Lawton and Adam Gilliland doing battle back and forth. 81 on the inside. The 81 will have the advantage as Tyler Hudson with them as well. Tyler Hudson trying to move up through this field. He moved up now to the 12th place position, restarting 16th off that yellow flag. And Hudson could be a wild card in this entire race.
Side by side behind them now is Josh Lawton on the outside, DWC winner this season, and the 69 Peter Bennett side by side, and it was side by side as Bennett pulls the foot out of it. Lawton will go to the position, and now he will set his sights on Tyler Hudson and Adam Gilliland side by side, or was side by side. It looked like the 101 car was going to go to the inside of the 81 of Adam Gilliland. It looks like they are getting a little bit strung out now as the 69 takes a peek once again on the 40 of Josh Lawton. You got to really time these passes well, Joe, as these guys, some of them back here around the 80, I believe, could tell pushing and shoving a little bit.
They continue to push and shove, and this is a track where you can push and shove just a little bit in order to get the position and fight for it. Just like Kevin King did to Ray Alfala. Leaves Alfala behind. Kevin King picks up the position number 3, and I don't think Kevin King's done climbing yet. That 29 Alpine Stars Chevrolet just seems so strong tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if he's battling for position at the end of this race.
For all the Nick Ottinger fans, he has fallen out of the server, lost connection to the race server, and that could spell the end for his championship hopes in this season. As Joey Brown continues to lead by about 6 car lengths, Jared Crawford has pulled away from Kevin King, Ray Alfala, and Mike Conti. It's Brian Schoenberg right now in 6th. Tom Lewandowski running all by himself in 7th. And then it's Hawk, Hansen, and Hudson completing your top 10. Great run for those 3.
Great run for those 3 as they continue to dominate the field. Joey Brown has led all 36 laps on this field so far, and he looks like he has no intention of giving that lead away anytime soon. But stranger things have happened on the field. Jared Crawford still 2nd, Kevin King 3rd, Ray Alfala 4th, Michael Conti 5th, and everybody now just seem to be content running single file through this field. I think everybody knows that they can't finish this race if their car is broken. Marcus Lindsay already proved that point earlier, so these guys just happy to run single file and let the race take them where they will.
Which is great compared to the last round that we saw, round at number 13 of this series at Michigan, where a quarter of the laps at the start of the race, most of those laps at the start run under caution compared to run under green. So it's good to see some green flag racing out of these drivers here. Lap number 37 of 163 being etched into the books this time by Joey Brown. Will come across and complete it. And the 33 and the 91 are side by side. That's about 24th place as Brian Blackford slices off the nose to the number 24 of Carson McClellan through the tri-oval. And McClellan will look at the Snow Cone Productions Ford Fusion, the number 33 of Brian Blackford this time by. And Jake Sturgis, 54, Brandon Bowie back here as well. You see just in front of that, the 33 and the 24 nearly come together. That was a little bit of a block by the looks of it there, Joe.
That was definitely a block. That was a message by Brian Blackford. I have this position. Good luck getting it back. So now Carson McClellan has to figure out his strategy all over again. He has to wait for that 33 to make a mistake in order to get around him. Single file throughout your entire field. And guys, this is the time to kick your feet back and put it in cruise control, because these guys are going to go ahead and just let it ride for at least a little bit.
24 to the inside, 33 trying to get the run off the corner. He's not going to get there. The 41 to the inside now with Jake Sturgis trying to pick up that spot on Blackford. Blackford might have a hole in the line here. Yes, he does. He falls in front of the 54 car as they work through corners number 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway now as Joey Brown continues to lead out in front. And you saw through that a lot of single file racing. Quick passes being made throughout this field, Joe, as Tyler Hudson picked up a spot on Brandon Hawk to move him up to position number 8. Other than that, it's been a couple of quick passes. It looks like Josh Lawton and the 40 of Lawton and the 81 of Gilliland are getting ready to go side by side here as the 81 is underneath the 40.
Meanwhile, John Adams in the Mud Jugs Chevy has no problem trying to climb to this field. Picked up 2 positions on the last time around, and now he is on the back bumper of the 25 machine of Benjamin Burmeister. Burmeister in the Intel Ford may just be over his head a little bit as John Adams is going hunting. He wants that position bad to break into the top 20 for the first time tonight.
Just in front of him, it's Nick Morse and Ashley Miller going at it, 2 of the Pro Series drivers for 16th and 17th place. There's a couple of close calls happening here as Byron Daly is looking at the 81 of Adam Gilliland for a spot as well. Watch the 9 these last couple of laps of Nick Morse trying to come to the front of the field. Got a little tail happy off corner number 4 a couple times, and it looks like he's trying to set his sights on Brad Davies, but he's got about 2 lengths to make up if he wants to do it. Trying to maybe possibly, Joe, play a little bit of defense on that number 7 to keep him behind.
It wouldn't surprise me. 3 wide Daly is known as an aggressive driver, and if you can keep him behind him, if you can keep yourself in front of him, when I push it that way, then you're doing an excellent job. Byron Daly, all right, on that back bumper of the 81 machine of Adam Gilliland. And I think it's only a matter of time for the 93 starts trying to force his way up front and start making it work for him going up there. And this right in car with Byron Daly chasing the 81 of Adam Gilliland.
But it's still way early in the race, Joe. I don't think you can really force yourself early. Pick up a couple of spots if you can, but you still have a long way to go. Over 100 laps to run in this race, 44 being worked on the board of 163. So you don't really need to be aggressive at this point. We know Byron Daly is not afraid to go down 3 wide as he goes to the underside of the 81 of Adam Gilliland. And Gilliland slices off the nose of the 11 of Brad Davies. Not sure that will sit well with driver number 11, but you look at that number 93 car, he's one of those drivers that's not afraid to be aggressive, but I think he knows as well that this is not the time to really be aggressive, especially this early in the race.
Meanwhile, Nick Ottinger back on the field, officially being scored 39th. He is 7 laps down right now, but he is on the track, like Alex Warren and Marcus Lindsay. So Ottinger, he needs a lot of help if he wants to try to get back into this field. And you know he's got to be incredibly frustrated about that situation that happened to him that put him so far down at no fault of his own.
Looks like the 11 and 81 are getting into it a little bit here. Just behind them, you see a side-by-side battle with Paul Kashiba and the number 7 of Ashley Miller. And there's another driver, Joe, that's not afraid to use the bumper if need be. Paul Kashiba in the number 32 to the inside of Ashley Miller as they go at it for a position. Brandon Cattell behind them. Cattell looking to pick up one more spot as well and move him a little bit closer to the front.
Paul Kashiba in the 32 still battling with Ashley Miller. Brandon Cattell behind them. And this could be a very interesting battle. Ashley Miller is still stuck on the outside. No way. No way. Well, check that back. Ashley Miller will find a way to keep Brandon Cattell behind him. Benjamin Burmeister, John Adams still in the hunt as well. And now all eyes are on the 55 machine of Brian Schoenberg as he gives position up to Brandon Houck. Schoenberg loses 2 positions once again, and he complained about the car being tight a little bit earlier. It might be still too tight for him.
And Schoenberg right now trying to pick up those spots that he lost. I know you were talking about this battle back here, Joe, and I want to talk about the 25, the 84, the 80, as they go at it for about position number 19. We saw Brian Schoenberg earlier in this race with a handful of steering wheel. Benjamin Burmeister, I think, wins the award for being pointed to the infield the most this evening because that car is not handling, I'm sure, the way he wants it to, as John Adams is underneath in the number 25 car. They'll go toe-to-toe at position number 20 this time by, and it looks like Adams will take the spot.
Meanwhile, back in the field, the 01 and 16 doing battle. That's Tyler Hudson in 7th, trying to get around Thomas Lewandowski in the 16 machine. 2 blue ovals, trying to move up through the field. Michael Connie won't let him have it, but 01 and Tyler Hudson will get position around Lewandowski. So score Tyler Hudson now in the top 6. And if he can get around the 5, he might be able to break into the top 5 for the first time on the evening. Schoenberg still having trouble as he's soon to be under fire by Peter Bennett. Brandon Houck also behind the 16, and he could very quickly get to the 16.
Kevin King to second around Jarrett Crawford in the 83. And now it's about 6 car lengths from Joey Brown to Kevin King. We'll see if King can run down the Barley Electrical number 12 and take the advantage away from the number 12 driver. Jarrett Crawford, great run this evening, running in position number 3 with Ray Alfala and Mike Conti in 5th. But don't look now, Conti also has company, and Tyler Hudson in the 01 as you ride on the roof of Kevin King, and you see that advantage and see what he has to track down as the 01 of Hudson underneath Mike Conti at position number 5.
Meanwhile, Byron Daly and Josh Lawton pick up position as well, get around the 20 of Danny Hansen with ease, and they will move forward. Up front they are starting to scatter like pool balls behind the 2 machine. It was a 0-1 of Tyler Hudson, the 5 Michael Conti, Lewandowski, Brandon Hauk, all running separate lines as they get into 1 and 2. Tyler Hudson comes out the big winner, and he breaks into the top 5 for the first time. Conti 6th, Lewandowski 7th, Hauk 8th, Schoenberg now in 9th, and here comes Peter Bennett in 10th.
You look back from Brad Davies to the 80 and 81. 81 way up the racetrack, and Adam Gilliland is trying to keep off some other cars back here as the 80 will pick up the spot. The 84 of Adams behind him, and then it's a 24-41 and the 91-25 side by side back there behind this little freight train that we have here coming off of corner number 2. Down the back straightaway we go with 110 laps left in this event. There goes Adams, there goes Gilliland down to the inside line, and that was almost a moment behind Brandon Cattell.
And what a set of moves just happened there as they continue to scatter around in that first group. Biggest winner once again, Tyler Hudson, started right in the middle of this group, gets around the 2 of Ray Alfala, and Hudson now in 4th. Hudson starting to climb through this field. Crawford 3rd, Kevin King 2nd, but the question is, does anybody have anything to answer to Joey Brown, who has led all 55 laps to date?
84 to the inside as he will try to take the position on the 81 of Adam Gilliland, and the 24 Carson McClelland is also going to try to follow through. This is your battle for 19, 20, and 21. Oh, contact, and the 84 has moved the 81 up the racetrack. That will not sit well with Adam Gilliland.
Not at all. Adam Gilliland is not one to be trifled with, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's going to try to come back in a big way. The GaryMercer.com Chevy is already angry, and you just stirred up a hornet's nest to get around him. Gilliland behind Josh Berry, and I think that's a bowling ball on the front of Gilliland's truck, or car I should say. Don't be surprised if he's going to do some bowling of his own real quick.
But he's got to get back up there first, because it doesn't look like that car is going to be able to get back up there, at least the way it's handling in these last 2 laps since that contact. Benjamin Burmeister underneath, and the 13 almost gets into the number 81 as well. 2 car of Ray Alfala getting up with Brandon Hauk, and the 53 of Hauk will move into the top 5. Great run for the pro driver, passing the 2-time champ as Hauk will move into the top 5.
Hauk was in the top 5. Meanwhile, Ray Alfala is playing defense right now, it seems, as he starts to drop through the field. That number 2 car might not be operating the way he has it ideally, but that being said, a lot of drivers out here complaining that these cars in the longer run are set up very, very tight.
And they might have expected this long green flag run. We typically see one here at Atlanta. We typically see fuel mileage come into play as well. Joey Brown continues to extend the lead on Kevin King and Jarrett Crawford out in front, so looks like he's just in cruise control right now, trying to build a little bit of a lead. Alfala has fallen back into the clutches of Tom Lewandowski. Lewandowski in the 16, looking at the 2 for position number 6 at a corner number 4. We have 59 laps completed.
So as we go back through your top 5 right now, Joey Brown up front, Kevin King 2nd, Jarrett Crawford 3rd, Tyler Hudson 4th, and Brandon Hauk now in 5th. And it looks like the 5 of Michael Conti is down on pit road. Not sure if he's having some trouble with his machine. He's going to come off pit road, and now he's going to be at the very end of this field, scored 38th right now. Nick Ottinger, the only one in front of him, scored 39th. Are we seeing pit strategy going to play this early?
I don't know if this is the right call or not for Mike Conti. He might have had something more wrong than what we anticipated, because there's a lot of cars in front of him. He's going to be 1 lap down. He's in the free pass position if a caution does come out. And it looks like Danny Hansen, his teammate, is going to come onto pit road this time by as well. So maybe these guys know something that we don't. Maybe they're trying to run the race backwards, maybe like a road course. So Focus Eyewear, number 20, going to head onto pit road right here, and Danny Hansen will come to the attention of his crew.
20 now in pit lane. That's Danny Hansen. He comes down to the attention of his crew, and look who's behind him, the 81, the Gary Mercer machine of Adam Gilliland, also going down pit road. Now here comes Dylan Duvall in the 42. We're starting to see green flag pit stops come to play out here, and all these guys all coming to look for the same exact thing: 4 tires and a full tank of fuel before they get down and away.
Byron Daly coming onto pit road at the mouth of pit road as he will slow the Bandit Chippers 93 down to pit speed. So maybe it's something else we're not seeing, Joe. We believe these drivers can go a little bit longer on the fuel, but maybe some of these drivers are throwing up a little bit of a different strategy. As Joey Brown this time by will, we assume, bypass him out the pit road. He's up at a corner number 4. He will complete lap number 63 on the racetrack. 100 to go for the 12.
100 to go as we keep an eye on your leader out here. That is the driver of the number 12 machine, Joey Brown. He has had no problems leading all 64 laps out here with 100 to go. You know he wants to go pole to pole to finish this race off. The problem is he's going to have to come for fuel sometime, and unless a yellow flag comes out, he's going to have to relinquish that lead sooner rather than later. Brian Schoenberg throwing the hand out the window. He said he's going to come back, come in. If not this time, next time around. Nope, it's going to be this time around. Schoenberg on the apron, and he's going to go down alone.
He comes down onto pit road as you ride on board with Joey Brown, Kevin King, Jared Crawford, Tyler Hudson, Brandon Hawk, your top 5 as they continue to run on the racetrack right now. And Joey Brown sees some lap traffic in front of him. That's Dylan Duvall in the 42, one of those drivers that has come down on the pit road. Already in this 65 laps that we have ran, now 66, being worked on the board by Joey Brown as your top 5 continue to stay out on the racetrack. And we see these drivers trickling down to pit road as a lot of these drivers continue to stay out. Nick Morse being one of them onto pit road, though.
Nicholas Morse comes down to pit road as Nick Ottinger once again off the field. Not his night, and you know he's got to be incredibly frustrated at his luck tonight. Nothing he's done to disqualify himself, just a bad connection to the server out here. None of your leaders still coming in yet, as you see guys still coming down pit road, which is going to be very interesting. These guys are going to run it to their last drop, and I think these guys are doing everything they can to stay out there to the very last moment they can come in. It wouldn't surprise me if Joey Brown and company all come down at the same time.
You know, if this race goes green for another 10 and 15 laps or so, and all these drivers can stay out on the racetrack, it's going to play into the hands of some of these guys. It's Jared Crawford on the pit road now in the number 83 from a top 5 spot. Carson McClelland is also planning on coming onto pit road this time by. But you look at it, if they get on a half-decent cycle, these drivers that come down pit road, if the other guys on this racetrack can wait, let's say, another 10 laps, 15 laps or so, we might see some guys like a Brian Schoenberg and Adam Gill and a Byron Daly trapped 1 lap down.
It certainly wouldn't surprise me the way that these top guys are managing their cars. 24 now coming down pit road, and also here comes Brian Blackford. These two are going to come down pit road together out there, and that might change their strategy as they come down. Meanwhile, leaders not throwing the hand out yet, not interested in going for service, which means these guys are only delaying the inevitable. It's going to come down to a green flag pit stop, but the question is now when, as a matter of how.
Your top 5 look like this: Joey Brown, Kevin King, Tyler Hudson, Brandon Hawk, and Tom Lewandowski. Ray Alfalo runs in 6, Paul Kashiba in 6, Ashley Miller, Josh Lawton, and Brad Davies. I believe Tom Mustakas or one of these drivers back here. Peter Bennett falling through the list. He's down on pit road in the number 69 car. But you look at Mustakas right now. The 10 is actually in a nice little 4-way dance here with Landon Harrison, Patrick Baldwin, and Michael J. Johnson side by side with the Viper and the 52 of Pat Baldwin. Move Landon Harrison up 1 more.
And they continue to do not do battle, but at least run and cruise control up front. Not a whole lot has changed. Brown, King, Hudson, Hauk, Lewandowski, your top 5. 81 now slowing up on the apron. Adam Gilliland could have some issues out there. He's going to come back down pit road, and Gilliland, who was involved in a little bit of trouble earlier tonight, this may not bode well for him.
After he ended up winning Daytona, it's been an up-and-down season for Adam Gilliland. When you look at the point standings, Gilliland needs to go in that number 81 car as he runs 16th in the standings and not too far ahead of that top 20 bubble. So tough break for Adam Gilliland, it seems like, as he is not on the racetrack right now behind the wall for the Gary Mercer Trucking 81.
Meanwhile, Ray Alfala immediately under fire. He's going to give up position to Paul Kashiba, who now finds his way into the top 10. A rare positioning for him in the top 10 tonight. Kashiba now up to 6th. Alfala down to 7th. Ashley Miller 8th. Josh Lawton 9th. And Jake Sturgis rounds out your top 10. Leaders still not coming down pit road.
This is tough for Brad Davies. Davies 30 seconds on pit road. He's down and away in the number 11 car, and that's the top 10 car, or I should say was the top 10 car, because with a 30-second pit stop, he's likely going to end up 1 or maybe even 2 laps down as this thing cycles through. Tyler Hudson having some issues back here with Tyler Laughlin, as Laughlin nearly got into the back bumper of Hudson trying to pass him. Laughlin on new tires. Hudson has yet to come down pit road. Close little call there for the Ada Simraps 01.
53 of Hawk will now come down pit road to the attention of his crew, and that's one of the few drivers that was running in that top 10 now on pit road. So now the question becomes, when do you come down? Everybody else has all eyes are on your leaders, as they can't run a whole lot longer out there with just what they got in the tank. Joey Brown continues to lead. He's got well over a 2-second lead over Kevin King at this point. So now when does he come down? When does he make the move?
You know, he's not alone, though. You have 21 drivers, I believe it is right now, that have not come down onto pit road. Paul Kashiba is about to take his name off that list, as he will come down pit road from position at number 4 the next time by. So you got guys that are still out here on this racetrack that have not pitted yet. We've seen fuel strategy and pit strategy come into play on many of these races. So it wouldn't surprise me if you're trying to stretch it the way you can, as Kevin King is on the pit road as well in the number 29. Stretch it as far as you can might be the winning strategy here.
It certainly might be, and it wouldn't surprise me if these leaders are going to try it. 89 now coming down pit road. That is Landon Harrison. Also down on pit road right now. I checked out. It's going to be only Landon Harrison down on pit road this time by. So Harrison makes the long trek down pit road by himself. Paul Kashiba, I take it back. Paul Kashiba also down on pit road with him, but he's not going to wait for him. 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Kashiba back down and away.
Joey Brown remains your leader, but it's now 3 seconds over Tyler Hudson, as Kevin King was down on pit road that last time by. So your top 2, 3 seconds of difference as they go into corner number 3 this time by. The 01, the 2, 7, and 40 complete your top 5. It's the 7 and 2 side by side, actually a third.
Kevin Burris had a bad entry. That's one of the Gary Mercer trucking machines out there. He ended up in the grass before he was able to come back down and make his pit stop. Nick Ottinger now also coming down pit road himself. Ottinger, though, several laps down as well, so he might not be coming down pit road as a matter of necessity, but he might become just as a matter of courtesy. Leader now coming down pit road. The 12 of Joey Brown now making his way down pit road.
So Brown will head to pit road. We'll see if Hudson can stay out here. Indeed he does. Hudson will stay out and lead that lap. Ashley Miller and Ray Alfala will also stay out on the racetrack. But looks like Joey Brown got it woed down to pit speed, and now your leader, who has led a majority of the first 80 laps of this race, is now on to pit road looking for service to his race car.
Almost halfway done as Joey Brown finally makes the move down pit road. I think he's going to try to just cut this race in half as he now comes down almost halfway through. Peter Bennett also coming down pit road, and the 01 of Tyler Hudson making his way down pit road as well. Ashley Miller also down on pit road. Josh Lawton, and also the 25 machine of Benjamin Burmeister, all now coming to the attention of their crews.
And the big thing here, Ray Alfala will stay out, and Alfala will lead a lap and grab a bonus point for his championship effort. Hudson, 4 tires on the 8 assigned wraps forward. He is down and away as Ray Alfala comes in at the mouth of pit road. That will leave Jake Sturgis and Charlie Foster as 2 of the drivers yet to come down. Brian Day comes down on that lap as well. Josh Berry, I believe, also has stayed out in the racetrack. So I believe at this point we have 3 drivers that have yet to come down pit road.
Patrick Baldwin on pit road as well. Several others, including Kevin Burris, Brandon Cattell, Chad Coleman, Brian Day, all down on pit road with Ray Alfala. And Alfala taking 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. He might be taking some adjustments out there as well. He's been rather slow down there on pit road as they get the other tires taken care of. 91 now sideways on the track.
He comes on to pit road, and that was a pretty cool entry for the 91 of Josh Berry, as I believe he may have slid it in there. No, he had to adjust his pit entry to get into his box correctly, but it was almost a nice little slide into the box for Josh Berry, as Sturgis and Foster also on pit road. So that will conclude our round of green flag pit stops here, and Jarrett Crawford will go to the lead in the number 83 car. We'll see where Joey Brown cycles out. It'll be in second, about a second behind. So a quick stop for Crawford, going to put him in the lead by a second. We'll see how quickly Joey Brown can cut this down.
Joey Brown has had a strong machine all night. He's currently scored in 4th, but that might change very, very rapidly as Joey Brown starts to cut his way through the field, brings a sword to the dance floor to cut a rug, and Joey Brown having no problem getting through. Alfala, however, he seems to have a little problem tonight, and now he's stuck in traffic out there in the middle of nowhere. The number 2 of Alfala, who wants to try to make it 3 consecutive championships, stuck in 19th, and he's got to make some moves as he wants to get up front.
And Alfala and Ashley Miller, they came down pit road on about the same lap, 1 lap apart, but they were battling prior to their entry to pit road. So the 2 of Alfala will try to get on the throttle and get away from this 7, the 40, and these guys battling back here as Alfala is scored in 14th place that last time by. Joe, I think it's about 60 laps that those drivers went, and I'm talking Ray Alfala, Jake Sturgis, Charlie Foster on that last stop. It's lap 85 now. You add 60 to that approximately. They definitely can make this race on 1 more pit stop. They'll have to wait a little bit, but they can make that this race on 1 more pit stop. We'll see what Schoenberg and them can do, because it's going to be 1 more pit stop. It's going to be a little bit of a different strategy, I believe, for those drivers, though, as Schoenberg is under fire from Tyler Hudson.
Schoenberg under fire from Tyler Hudson out there in the 55 machine, and Schoenberg now stuck in traffic himself. He has not had a good car all night, has only got it started at the top of this field. He's in 7th, and now he's going to get passed by Tyler Hudson rather easily. Hudson gets around the 55 like it's nothing, and here comes Byron Daly and Kevin Burris. Both those guys also want to try to get around the number 55 of Brian Schoenberg. And if you're Schoenberg, you got to be incredibly frustrated with your night tonight. You had all hopes of making it up front and making a move towards a championship, but the car just wouldn't go when you needed to.
Yeah, but you're still in the top 10 right now. That's the important thing for Brian Schoenberg. He's got Byron Daly behind him. And in position number 9, that Kevin Burris pass was not a passer position. We documented his troubles on pit road. He is currently 3 laps down in that 45 car. Oh, Byron Daly a little bit loose in the back bumper of the 55 of Schoenberg. To the inside goes the 93, and he will pick up the spot. That was pretty intense there for that number 93 of Byron Daly as he picks up that spot. I was saying a little bit earlier, Schoenberg and them pitted about, I believe, 15 laps or so earlier than the rest of these other drivers. So they'll have to come back down pit road likely 15 laps or so earlier than those other drivers that just came down pit road about 5 laps ago. The question is, you'd have to be on pins and needles if you're those crew chiefs on the box, maybe for the J-Show team, hoping that if this race goes green to that point, that you don't get a caution in between those 15 laps where everybody else is not pitting.
Tim, and you say about the Brian Schoenberg that he's still in the top 10, which is the important thing. Yes, it is, and no, it's not. At this point, with 3 races after tonight's race, every position counts. And for Schoenberg, if he wants to have a showing at the very end of the season, he's not worried about making it to next season. He's worried about winning this season. And if he wants to win this season, top 10 isn't going to cut it for the 55 machine. He needs to get top 5 or even better, try to find a way to get out in front of this field. But the man in front of this field now is Joey Brown, who's back out front on lap 90. And the question is, with Joey Brown almost coming in at exactly the halfway point, is he going to try to stretch it out and go all the way?
It's going to be tough to do that because you're going to be sitting at approximately lap 140. There's no way you're saving 23 laps or 20 laps on this tank of fuel. Especially with no cautions. There's no way anybody's going to be able to make this on the tank of fuel that they're on right now. They're going to have to come down at least one more time. If I'm them and we get to lap 100 or so, and then we have a caution flag as Lewandowski way to the inside of Mike Conti to pick up a position as Lewandowski goes to that spot, and it looks like Jarrett Crawford might have some company soon in the way of Brandon Hawk. But yeah, you're definitely on the right path, Joe, but they're definitely not going to make it on this tank of fuel. If they make it to 105, let's say, then you can make it 60 laps in the fuel, and then it's game on. But I don't see anybody making it on this tank.
It wouldn't surprise me, though, if you do have a couple guys trying to stretch it out for everything it's worth and end up running out on gas in the last 2 to 3 laps out there, because it's the kind of track that Atlanta is. Very, very fast, very, very quick, and if you can mitigate pit strategy the best, you can very easily win at this track. Joey Brown remains up front. Kevin King in 4th. Tyler Hudson finds his way up to 5th. Kevin Burris still trying to figure out what he's going to do. He's in 36th, but he wants to try to get up front and get his position back. Gets around the 5 very easily, and Kevin Burris around and away.
You see Brandon Hawk reeling in the 83 of Jarrett Crawford. That's actually Chad Coleman in between them. Coleman is the only driver right now 1 lap down as you ride on the roof of Brandon Hawk with Chad Coleman in the Hickenjicks Ford and the 83 of Jarrett Crawford in the JDR Graphics Tim's Corner Motorsports number 83. Coming up at corner number 4, this time by 95 laps completed. We work lap number 96 for this little battle here for position number 2.
As the battle rages on, everybody content now to run single file through this field. Not a whole lot of crazy moves being made right now. Everybody just trying to make it to that last 60 laps you mentioned there, Tim, so that they can fill up on fuel, so that they can get set up and ready to go. And once they wind it up, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot more tighter, crazier racing going on through this field.
At 53, a Brandon Hawk goes low on Chad Coleman to put Coleman in the rearview mirror. That pass is not for position. Chad Coleman 1 lap down in position 35. But now he can set his sights on the 83 of Jarrett Crawford, who runs in position number 2 this evening. Great run for those two, Crawford and Hawk. We saw a Pro Series driver last season in Jason Karlavich come out with a victory in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Could this be the night we see it again with Brandon Hawk?
It wouldn't surprise me, as Hawk's been running incredibly strong all night. He's been really proving his mettle out there on the field. Currently scored in 3rd. And these guys are, and he's really proven himself. He's going to be a force, I think, to reckon with next season if he makes it to the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship.
And I believe if he were to go to victory lane, Brandon Hawk would be the first Canadian driver to go to victory lane in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Connor McKenzie fell short. Dylan Duval has not been to victory lane. I believe Brandon Hawk would be the first, off the top of my head, to do so from the country of Canada. We've had international winners in this series. Of course, our first champion was Richard Towler from Hull, England. We had Sandeep Banerjee from Mumbai, India, take a victory in this series. We haven't had a Canadian do one, so he's looking to be the first as he's looking at Jarrett Crawford up on the back bumper of the 83 as they go down into corner number 1. 100 laps being worked on the board.
And Jared Crawford and Brandon Howe continuing to do battle out there. Maybe a car length between them as Howe trying to get around Crawford. Howe wants it. He wants it in a bad way. He's going to dive down underneath him on the tri-oval up front. And we've got a new competitor for position number 2. That's Brandon Hawk. Now the question is, can he reel in Joey Brown and ultimately try to win this race? Brandon Hawk, what a move to get up to second.
And Brandon Hawk will now set his sights on Joey Brown. The good news for Brandon Hawk, he's in second. The bad news for Brandon Hawk is he's 2.6 seconds behind Joey Brown. Maybe a little bit more that time, 2.7 or so between your top two. So we'll see if Brandon Hawk can reel in Joey Brown. Going to take a little bit in order to do it, though. Kevin King and Tyler Hudson complete your top 5 right now, with Tom Lewandowski in 6. But we documented Ray Alfala's tough run back to the front. He's actually gained about 2 seconds or so on the leaders since he's come off pit road, but he is in position number 7 right now. As Joey Brown the last time by was at a 29.23. We'll see what Ray Alfala is this time by. He's not far off the pace of Joey Brown in the number 2. It's 29.32 to Joey Brown's 29.23. So that time almost a tenth. But Joe, he was consistently as fast as the 12 in these last few laps.
And it's really only a matter of time to see if Joey Brown can hold it off, or if Brandon Howe can get a little bit of help behind him and in front of him to start catching up to that number 12 machine. Remember, the number 12 is running out there effectively by himself. Howe's got the benefit of Jared Crawford behind him, and if they can catch up to Tyler Laughlin, 3 cars will move a whole lot faster than 1 will.
You look at the 32 of Paul Kashiba there in the 32, the 2 of Ray Alfala in front of him, looking to the possible inside here of the number 2. Trying to get a run, but just can't seem to get up to the Brogy Consulting Ford. Can the 32 of Paul Kashiba, shadowing the 2, coming up at corner number 4 this time by 104 laps completed. You have Byron Daly right now in 9th, completing your top 10 is Ashley Miller in the number 7. Great run for Ashley Miller, one of our Pro Series drivers visiting us here this evening. Paul Kashiba once again tries to look at the 2 of Ray Alfala down the back straightaway. Can he make the move into corner number 3? Alfala gives him the line, and it's side by side for position number 7, given to the 32 of Kashiba.
Ray Alfala is somebody who's starting to confuse me a little bit out here on the field. He was running strong in the beginning of this race. He's making some strong moves earlier in this race, and now he just seems very content to run in line. Yes, I get it that it's partially just points racing, continuing to build on his lead, but there's one thing to just run conservatively and build on the lead, and it's a completely different thing to try to secure the win and make it as tight as you can for everybody else not named Ray Alfala. So I think smart driving is taking the place of emotional driving tonight for Ray Alfala, and while that's not a bad thing, I still have to question it a little bit.
We'll see what Alfala can do in these closing laps of this race, as he is trying to chase down Paul Kashiba in the number 32 car. It's the 93 of Byron Daly just behind him. Right now in position number 9, and Ashley Miller in 10th, being chased down by our Talladega winner John Schlaughton in the number 40 car. Your 2 drivers that pitted early on in that sequence, Michael Conti and Brian Schoenberg, they run in 12th and 13th place respectively, with Danny Hansen running in position number 19. You're seeing it with the older tires. They're falling back outside the top 10 compared to where they were before. And I anticipate them down onto pit road probably within the next 20 laps or so. We're at the point now, Joe, where these guys, if we do get a caution, they all come down pit road. They can all make it onto the fuel in these race cars. So it's just a matter now of if a caution flag does fly, or is that final pit stop under green.
And this is where gambling takes place a little bit, because if you come down now under green flag conditions and the yellow flag comes out, you're in a lot of trouble in a hurry. That being said, if you come down now in it stays green flag racing, no yellow flag comes out, you might be able to secure your way to getting great track position all the way up to a win or a top 5 finish. So the question now becomes, when do you want to make that move, and when do you want to make that gamble to see what's going to happen and what's going to work for you?
Well, Mike Conti's going to throw the hand out the window this time by and say that he's coming onto pit road. We'll see if Schoenberg comes with him. I don't think he is. Conti might be the only driver onto pit road this time by. The 5 car going to come onto pit road. He was the first on the last sequence, and here he comes onto pit road. And Joe, to answer your question, if I'm sitting in the car and I see how good all these drivers are running on the late stages that made that late move to pit road, I kind of would want to stay out late, because if this race goes green the rest of the way, you're going to want something in those later laps. The 20 and the 39 are also joining the 5 on pit road here.
So now pit road's going to start getting to be a very busy place as the 42 machine of Dylan Duvall finds a way around not only John Adams, but Charlie Foster and Carson McClelland out there. Great 3-wide racing there for a moment, and way to have Dylan Duvall use the entire track out there on the way to picking up position. 55 Ryan Schoenberg yelling on the radio about something. Couldn't quite make it out, but it does sound very frantic out there. Might be that tight car coming back to haunt him once again.
93 car Byron Daly heading on to pit road as he will come down to the attention of his crew this time by, and what should be the final pit stop of the race for the Bandit Chippers number 93 car, as Daly will stop in his box. Joey Brown continues to lead, and actually he's extended that lead over Brandon Hawk in the number 53 since the last time we checked. It's 3.2 seconds that last time by between your top 2 drivers.
Top 2 drivers continue to run out here. Nobody's thrown the hand back out the window yet. So now I'll check that. Number 84 of John Adams. Looks like he's going to come down this time by. And here comes the 55 of Schoenberg into the grass. He's going to come down pit road, and not the way I'm sure he intended to. Schoenberg's been tight all night. He's going to look for anything they can do to loosen it up for the rest of this run.
We have less than 50 laps to go in this race as Schoenberg is down to his pit box. Joey Brown and Brandon Hawk continue to be your top 2. Hawk a little bit faster that last time by 2/10 actually. Then Joey Brown, Jared Crawford as well in the middle of that battle as he goes to the inside of the 33. Brian Blackford does the 83 at Jared Crawford, and he actually may be headed towards pit road. No, he's just going to stay on the racetrack there. But you see your leader on the 11 of Brad Davies to try to put Davies 1 lap down in 22nd.
Davies not in a great place. He does not want to go 1 lap down, but he may not have a choice. Joey Brown has been so dominant on this field tonight. He's going to get around the 11 without any problems whatsoever. Joey Brown, great move by him, and that's going to put the number 11 of Brad Davies 1 lap down. Does anybody have anything to answer to Joey Brown tonight? He's led the majority of the laps tonight. On lap 117, he's 1 pit stop away from being able to run the rest of the way. Joey Brown, strong showing tonight.
So Joey Brown trying to drive off and take his second career NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship victory, as he will be passed by the 39 here of Michael J. Johnson, one of the drivers that has already visited pit road. Johnson will unlap himself once. He'll have to do it again in order to get back onto the lead lap. Carson McClelland will be coming onto pit road this time by as well in the number 24, so he will relinquish position 14 to come down.
Still a 3-second lead for your leader out there. Joey Brown has a stranglehold on this field. Brandon Houck still in second. Jared Crawford third. Tyler Hudson fourth. And Kevin King rounds out your top 5. Ray Alfala in 7th out there. Still just running conservatively, trying to get his point as he continues to run out there. Running down second, Brandon Hawk on the roof cam out there. And Hawk, who would have expected this run from him tonight in that 53 machine? He has just done incredibly well out there and is really racking up a run to be proud of.
Yeah, he's running laps faster than the leader the last few laps. Joey Brown is trying to hold on, but Brandon Hawk seems to be that little bit quicker on the longer run. Once again, just a touch quicker that time by a 2040 to a 2034 for Brandon Hawk, so he reeled in 600ths that last time by. Tyler Hudson runs in third. Kevin King, Paul Kashiba, your top 5 as we work lap number 120 of 163. This time by 43 laps to go for the 12 of Joey Brown.
And I continue to watch F53 of Brandon Hawk. He's just running by himself out there in the middle of nowhere, and he shaved off again a 1/10 of a second off of that. 83 now coming down pit road. That's Jared Crawford. He will come down the attention of his crew. And check that. He's gonna stay back out.
Yeah, he made the stop about a lap ago, and back on the racetrack, you saw it there with the box. Joey Brown is continuing to lead, 1:21 in the book. Brandon Hawk in second, Hudson, King, and Kashiba, your top five, with Ray Alfala and Ashley Miller in position number 7. Actually impressed with Ashley Miller this evening. We talked about him earlier battling with Ray Alfala, and he's only about 5 lengths off the number 2 on this run. So Ashley Miller could be somebody to watch, Joe, for possibly a top 10 finish, if not maybe a little bit more this evening.
Ashley Miller, another Pro Series driver, joining us tonight for the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And really, if nothing else you take away from tonight, these Pro Series drivers have really shown their muscle tonight and shown that they do have a place in this World Championship Series. It wouldn't surprise me to see some of these names running out here, like Brandon Hawk, like Ashley Miller, running with sponsorships on their car this time next year.
The 2 to the inside of Chad Coleman to put him in the rearview mirror, and Coleman's had a tough night so far. He's sitting in 21st place right now, 1 lap down, not where the Hickenjicks Ford wants to be, but I'm sure he'll look for maybe a little bit of strategy here to turn something around. Kevin King has put the hand out the window. King will be coming down to pit road this time by, as will Tom Lewandowski in the number 16 car, as those 2 drivers will look to the left-hand side of the racetrack this time by through 3 and 4, and King will surrender position number 4 to do this in the Alpine Stars. Number 29, here he comes, as he is, almost loses it coming onto pit road, as he and Ottinger come down to pit road. Ottinger is running a bunch of laps down right now.
05 coming is on pit road. The 29 of Kevin King, Lewandowski on pit road, and Landon Harrison, all the attention of their crews. And now here comes Brandon Hawk in the 53 machine. He will come down to the attention of his crew. This time by makes a clean entry onto pit road.
Hawk coming down, and he will head to the attention of his crew. This time by his final pit stop of the night, as he will slide into the box, and the right-hand side tires will go up. Should be 4 tires for that race car, and he will be down and away momentarily. Joey Brown continues to be out on the racetrack and lead this race. Your top 3, Brown, Hudson, Alfala, and then Miller and Lawton complete your top 5 as the 53 car. As we mentioned a little earlier, looking to make some history this evening. He's down and away.
53 cars, looks like he has trouble coming off pit road. He figures it out, and he is down and away. 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Hawk trying to get back up to second, if not first, and that pit spot may have given him a big advantage in it. Joey Brown remains out on the field. Your leader not yet coming down pit road, but he's starting to slow up there, letting some cars around him, like Nicholas Morse and Tom Mostakis. He might be either 1, conserving, or 2, getting ready to come down pit road himself.
Looks like John Adams will be heading to pit road this time by. He's down there in his box, and Paul Kashiba as well, taking this opportunity to head down onto pit road. As Joey Brown continues to lead, he completes 128 on the racetrack and begins 129.
35 left to go. Alfala was in third. He might be dropping out down to the field. He will. Ashley Miller picks up position, and Ashley Miller score that number 7 machine now in third. Ray Alfala fourth. Josh Lawton 5th. And it looks like 6 will belong to the number 4 of Brian Day. Alfala not racing competitively here. I think you're right, Tim. He's trying to protect points at this point.
A long pit stop for John Adams, 30 seconds for the 84, and that will put him behind the 8 ball in these final few laps of this race. Another driver that had a long pit stop the last time by, Brad Davies, is down on the pit road in the number 11 car. He had a 30-second stop the last time. He is down, and he cannot afford another one of those. As Joey Brown, Tyler Hudson, Ashley Miller, Ray Alfala, and Josh Lawton complete your top 5 the last time by, and actually 2 tires for Brad Davies, so he's trying to make up for lost time after that final stop. And another advantage, Joe, with pitting this late, you don't have to take as much fuel in those cars, so you can take 2 tires and possibly gamble a little bit here.
Gambling is always an option on this field, especially late in the race. With only 33 laps left to go, it makes it easier to make that gamble now as opposed to earlier in the race. Take 2 tires, take only a tank of fuel. Do whatever you have to do to get position at this point is the name of the game. And none of these guys know better than your leaders up front, including Joey Brown. When you get to when the number 12 decides to come down pit road, don't be surprised if he takes just the bare minimum, 2 tires and maybe a half tank of fuel. I don't know.
Top 2 stay out. Ashley Miller has begun to pull away from Ray Alfala after he made that pass for position number 3. Looks like that car's just a little bit better on the longer run compared to Ray Alfala. Josh Lawton still completes your top 5. Here comes Brian Day on the pit road in the number 4, so Day will come down. And then you got guys like Charlie Foster and Jake Sturgis in 6th and 7th, who were the last drivers to come down pit road in that last exchange. Should we expect them to stay out as long as they can to get every drop of fuel out of their race car? The 01 of Hudson coming down to the attention of his crew this time by. He will surrender position number 2 to come down to 133, 30 to go.
Behind him, the 2 of Ray Alfala, Mr. 2-time himself, is going to come down pit road as well. 25 also coming down pit road. So a lot of guys now electing to come down pit road with 30 to go. It seems to be a decent midway point as well. Now here comes your leader, Joey Brown. He's going to come down pit road, and that shakes up the field.
Joey Brown will head down pit road, as will Ashley Miller. And Josh Lawton will try to take the lead here. I don't think he'll be scored as your leader that time by. Yeah, indeed he will, just by the skin of his teeth. Lawton will be scored as your leader, as Brown will come down to the attention of his crew right here. He is going to stop in the box, and the right side tires will go up here. The question is, do you take 2 or do you take all 4? Joey Brown in the 12 takes all 4 tires on the number 12 Barley Electrical Chevrolet.
Joey Brown down and away. Quick stop for his team, and he is back out on the field. Joey Brown did lose a little bit of position that time by, but it's not going to be enough to hurt him horribly. The question, though, is how fast is he going to be able to get back up front? Time's ticking, and Joey Brown is on the clock.
Your leader, Josh Lawton, should be on to pit road this time by in the TC's Custom Diecast number 40. So watch for the Chevrolet SS to come down of Lawton. Here he comes in a close call between him and the 84. No harm, no foul, though, as he will head down to the attention of his crew. And then we have Charlie Foster and Jake Sturgis out in front, and Foster will lead his first lap as a NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship competitor. As first lap led, not bad for the 13, little feather in his cap.
Charlie Foster, one of your Pro Series drivers we talked about at the beginning of this race, will pick up a bonus point for leading a lap, and that is definitely something to be proud of on this field. The problem is, though, it's probably going to be very, very short-lived. 28-41, both going down pit road this time by as Charlie Foster continues to lead. His nearest competitor is Brandon Cattell. He is 6 seconds behind. Jake Sturgis, little over a second behind. So Charlie Foster right now kind of running by himself, and I'm sure he doesn't mind that.
4 tires for Jake Sturgis, one of the final drivers that remains on the racetrack through this long green flag run. Of course, the 13 of Charlie Foster is also out here as well. I believe the 80 of Brandon Cattell. Now he comes down to pit road. Andrew Fayash, the 3rd, I believe, is also coming to pit road here in the 157. So Charlie Foster is the only driver right now that's out in front. And Joe, look who is leading behind those drivers that came down, as Foster is going to head down this time by. Oh, contact! He turns the 32 into the fence, and Paul Kashiba will get down. I don't think there's a caution flag.
No caution flag yet, but that definitely hurts Paul Kashiba as he got out there and hurt that car as a result of 13. 13 came down pit road, skidded through, almost hit the car in front of him. That's going to be, we couldn't get a number on that card, but nonetheless, that's going to hurt him. And the 13 almost skids into his pit stop as well. The inexperience of Charlie Foster now coming to show.
Yeah, the 32 of Paul Kashiba, very damaged, heavily damaged. He's up letting some cars pass him right now, and a great save by Paul Kashiba after he hit the fence and came back down. Great save for him. But look who has taken the lead on pit road. Brandon Hawk in the 53 car will be coming by this time, and he will lead his first lap as a NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship competitor. Joey Brown is in second, and we've seen Joey Brown really quick, but Brandon Hawk seems to be just that little skosh quicker on the long run. If this race goes green, you see the 12 car looking to the inside here of Joey Brown for the lead. Question is, how much short run speed does the 12 have, and how much long run speed does the 53 have if this thing stays green?
Both have identical tires, both have nearly identical fuel, so now it becomes a matter of setup and driver skill. Hawk doing everything he can to stay up front. That 12 machine of Joey Brown doing everything he can to shake his confidence and get around him. Now immediately on his back bumper, going into the back stretch of 12, peeking down low. No, he's not going to go yet. Hawk continues to lead it, and he's showing all the poise and confidence of a veteran driver out there. Hawk, if he's nervous, he is not showing it at all. Ice water running through his veins as he continues to drive.
The Linguistic JDR Graphics, number 53, holding off the Barley Electrical, number 12, as they go down the back straightaway. Brandon Hawk trying to close in on his first NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship victory as a Pro Series driver. 12 looking to the inside, almost had the line there, going down to the corner, but he has to back the foot out of it. This time by 20 laps to go for Waterloo, Ontario's number 53 of Brandon Hawk.
Brandon Hawk looking to be the first Canadian winner of a NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Won't happen if Joey Brown has something to say about it. On the roof cam you ride with Joey Brown. He's on the outside trying to make the pass to the outside. They are side by side on the back stretch. Does the number 12 machine have enough power to make the pass up high? He's got a nose in 3, but he's going to lose it in 4. Now it's a drag race to the start-finish line, and it's going to be Joey Brown taking back to the lead.
Brown in the number 12 on the outside line, but Brandon Hawk not going to let him have it easy. But Brown's going to get these runs off the corner, and if he continues to get that momentum on the outside, he's going to take the advantage, or the full advantage, from that 53. But Hawk continues to work on that inside line. Hawk will try to take away the lead this time by great run in the middle of the corner for the 53. The 12 will get the run off, and they are also going to come up on some lap traffic. I do believe momentarily Brown will lead that lap, and now the 53 continues to work on that inside line. And you look at all the respect that's given there between the two, almost a little bit of contact, but the 12 is giving the 53 enough room to work on the inside line to make this a great battle. Hawk will take a half car length lead down into corner number 3.
Brandon Hawk continues to battle Joey Brown, and this is one of the most exciting battles we have seen all year on the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship circuit. Now they're coming up to traffic, and something's going to have to give when they get into traffic. They're not going to be able to run too wide for a whole lot longer, and the way everybody's going low, it could play to Joey Brown's advantage. Brandon Hawk still not giving any position away. They are about to give up to catch up to the number 54 of Brandon Bowie, and when that happens, one of these two drivers is going to have to figure it out.
You ride in a car with Tyler Hudson in the box. Tyler Hudson is coming as these guys go side by side. He's tacked off another 10th that time by 32, way up the racetrack to let these guys battle side by side for the lead position, and it's about to become a three-way dance. Bowie out of the way in the number 54 as they continue to go side by side. Hudson might have a little more problem trying to get through this traffic as he's not side by side with anybody compared to those drivers that are side by side up in front. Joey Brown continues to get the run off the corner. He'll lead one more lap here, but Brandon Hawk continues to put on a show to the inside of Joey Brown. If he can clear him off one of these corners, Joe, the 12 car might have an easier time trying to pull away with the lead. Oh, Brown into the fence off corner number 2.
Brown to the fence, and that's definitely going to hurt his chances out there. Joey Brown backs off, and that's going to give the lead back to Brandon Hawk. He's going to continue to lead. He's going to come back to the lead now, and the 12 once again looking Up front, another battle brewing for that 5th place position between Kevin King and Ray Alfala. King had it for just a moment. Alfala took it back, but that's inconsequential to this battle up front between Houck and Brown.
Now Brown to the inside, trying to get the 53 off the line. He's got him off the line. Now the 12 to the inside. How much room does the 53 give him? Contact almost in corner number 3. 53 up the racetrack, and the 12 car going to try to go to the lead on the inside line. We saw the 12 give the 53 a ton of room on that inside, and now the 53 may be trying to pinch him a little bit here to try to take the line away a little bit from the 12.
Classic Atlanta side-by-side racing. You're seeing it here live. Joey Brown, Brandon Hawk continuing back and forth. That outside line seems to be just a touch faster, and they continue to run it. Brandon Hawk faster on the outside. Joey Brown faster in the turns. Joey Brown gets the jump through 3 and 4. He's got half a car length off Hawk, and they continue to do battle. This race is far from over.
And Tyler Hudson is there. He's cut it to under 4 car lengths. And look at the 01 car as they continue to go side by side and make a little contact down the straightaways. This is a great show, and I'm sure Tyler Hudson's loving it as well. Now Joey Brown goes to the lead for the first time since that final pit stop. Can Brown pull away now from the 53? That is the question, as we have 11 laps to go.
11 laps to go. Brown finally gets cleanly away from Brandon Hawk. Brandon Hawk's in second, but he's not willing to give up position just yet. He ducks underneath the 12, and we are back at it, battling side by side, Hawk and Brown. This battle will not end until the checkered flag flies.
Keep in mind, Tyler Hudson has never won a NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship point race. If he can get up there, I'm sure he is going to think about that. If he can get up to these drivers in the remaining 9.5 laps of this race. They come up on a lapped car of Brad Davies. This time by Davies, a veteran of this. I'm sure he'll see those two leaders and possibly give way as they are battling for the victory. 12 on the outside, 53 on the inside, dives it in hard. Nothing doing for Brandon Hawk as they will come up on car number 11 of Davies. 1:55 being worked on the board.
Joey Brown now back up front. Vivka's now getting the lead. A car length between him and the 53. The 12 getting some air from the 11 to try to extend his lead. 11 gets way out of their way. Joey Brown has sole control of the lead once again, and it looks like he'll use a little bit of that draft to break out in front of him. Car length and a half now between Brown and Hawk, and our battling might just be done with, unless Tyler Hudson has something to say about it. And I've got a feeling he does, as he's now starting to reel these guys in slowly but surely.
You know, they were side by side, and Tyler Hudson was a tenth quicker, a half-tenth quicker a lap. And then these guys got single file, and they were no longer going for the lead position. And then it's like Tyler Hudson hit a wall, and he hasn't been able to make any time up. Joey Brown is broken away, and I say broken away because it was side by side for so many laps. It's a car length between the top two drivers as the 53 tries to cut that down into the corner. But as you mentioned, Hudson was coming, but that's slowed down a little bit, and he's going to pick up the pace if he's going to catch these guys in the next 6.5.
6.5 is all we have left. Now 6.25 as they continue to go back and forth. Joey Brown may have burned his tires up a little bit, so did Brandon Hawk, and that might be the only thing saving Joey Brown right now is the fact that he has older gear underneath him, just like the guy behind him. We'll have to see exactly how that plays out to either one's advantage, as Brown still continues to lead. Brandon Hawk only a car length away, and on the stretches it looks like Joey Brown is just a little bit stronger. In the turns it's Brandon Hawk, but guess what? Hawk can't get it done in the turns, and the straightaways is where Joey Brown starts to show it. 5 laps to go. Joey Brown shows no intention of losing this race.
Tyler Hudson lost 0.2 that time by on your top two drivers, so Hudson has about 7 lengths to make up, and he has about 4.5 laps to do it. Down the back straightaway, the 53 continues to get that run, get that draft off the number 12, but just cannot seem to make that move as you ride on the roof of the linguistic number 53, coming up at a corner number 4. Great run, nowhere to put it. It has been the story the last 5 laps or so. They'll come up on a lapped vehicle. That will be the number 22 of Rob Ackley, and that will probably be the final lap car they see. Well, they'll have Kashiba. Kashiba's still out there limping around after the bump from Charlie Foster, as he will go one lap down, and then they'll have Rob Ackley in front of them. And this will be settled between the 12.53 and the 01, if the 01 can get up on the wheel and get back up here. What a great run for the 53 off corner number 4. Nothing doing there. We have 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go, and a new life has been seen in the 53 machine. He's on that back bumper of the 12. Joey Brown doing everything he can to keep that 53 behind him. And it looks like they're bumping a little bit down there. And here comes the 53. He's got a line on him. He jumps inside, and we're back side-by-side racing. And I don't think we're going to see them go single file for the next 2 laps. They cross the line, popsicle sticks in the air. Joey Brown had the lead, but Brandon Hawk is closing in. He wants to try to get that lead back.
Tyler Hudson in the 01 is licking his chops right now in the 8 assigned wraps forward as they go side by side for the lead position. It's the 53 and the 12. Brandon Hawk on the inside, Joey Brown on the outside. Brown is a one-time winner in the series. He almost gets defensive. He didn't on the front straightaway. 1 to go. White flag is out. Brandon Hawk led that lap. Contact made. Brown up the racetrack, and here comes Hudson. Hudson to the inside of the 53, and he turns him. Joey Brown now in the 12. Does he have enough momentum to take the outside line? He does, and the 12 car will be back to the lead position. The 01 will have 2 corners to get there. Contact. He tries to turn him. It's not going to happen. The 12 car comes up out of corner number 4, and Joey Brown will win his second NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship race. And Joe, you want excitement? I think you got it there.
I did want excitement, and what a ridiculous finish we just had there. Contact all the way around. From the 53, from the 01, from the 12. What an incredible race, and Brandon Hawk cannot be happy with how all that happened. John Adams also getting involved there. These guys, they raced their hearts out. They raced everything they had out there. They left it on the track, and Brandon Hawk, who had such an incredible race, has to be frustrated with that finish.
Your winner was in the wall in turn 1 on the final lap, and he comes back and he wins the race. That tells you something right there, folks. The 01 of Tyler Hudson down in turn 3 sent it in, and Joe, he wasn't getting on the brake. If Joey Brown's car was a little more loose, if Tyler Hudson would have hit him a little more to the left rear corner, Jarrett Crawford probably would have won his first NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship race.
Well, not. Addition to that, you have Ray Alfala there, who ended up picking up a top 5 as a result of it. Let's go to the replay, though, real quick, and exactly watch what happened there on that very last lap. The first contact you're going to see here is the 12 and 53. 12 got into the 53, ends up in the wall. Now it's a 53 and 01, and the 01 just drives it underneath, and there's just not enough real estate for both of them. 53 is a loser on that one. 01's forced to check up. 12 comes back. And one more contact here you're going to see between the 01 and 12, both of them making contact, and it's just in the right place at the right time where Joey Brown can keep it going forward and ultimately win this race. What an exciting, crazy, classic Atlanta finish.
We are going to look at some replays here, and then we are going to step away for just a few moments' time as our production crew goes through all of these replays, and you can sit and take a look at what just happened. We're going to digest it a little bit, too, and when we return, we'll have your post-race show. We will talk to your top 5 finishers from this event. Kevin King and Ray Alfala completed your top 5, by the way. Ray Alfala, your point leader, finishes in 5th. We'll talk to him and the rest of the top 5 after this. Watch the replays. Go get some popcorn. It's going to be good. Don't go away.
fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR IRacing.com. Welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway in round number 14 of the NASCAR IRacing.com Series World Championship. If you are just tuning in, you missed probably the best finish in the history of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship when it comes to excitement and last lap heroics. Joe Cortez is down with our winner, Joey Brown.
Joey Brown standing beside a victorious Barley Electrical Chevy SS. Joey, before I ask you anything else, walk us through that incredible incident through turn 1 and your charge back through the backstretch.
Oh man, first of all, I'm just shaking right now. But I slipped off of 4 coming to the white flag and thought I pretty much gave it up. And Hawk ran a little bit higher arc into 1, kind of pushed me up the track. I wasn't really expecting that. And it was complete luck after that, the events that played out. And it was great racing by everybody. Hawk ran like a really good defensive line. It was just good, hard racing.
Definitely hard racing between you two. It looked you and the 53 of Hawk made contact. Who do you feel is to blame for that one? Were you in his line or was he in your line?
It's just racing, trying to get everything you can. I mean, he took a little bit higher arc than he was the previous laps, but I mean, it's white flag going for his first win. Like, you can't really blame the guy for that, you know.
Now let's walk over to turn number 4 real quick. The number 1 shoved you real hard. How were you able to rescue that one?
Oh, to be honest, I didn't really feel it. I was kind of tight in the center anyway, so if anything, it helped me turn. But I mean, he's just going for the win. I don't think Tyler Hudson has a win in the DWC. So I mean, yeah, he's shooting for 1 too. So it was just really hard racing, and I think I bested Shannon's best race of the season. I kind of think I know how to make things exciting.
Joey Brown, you definitely made things exciting tonight. You were arguably the most dominant car on the field, leading the majority of the laps tonight. What made your car so fast out there? What made it so that we only saw racing near you at the very end?
I threw 40 tape on at the first and was able to pull a pretty decent lead. To be honest, I think Hawk had a stronger car in the long run, but just track position played out, and it took him that long to catch it back up. I kind of pit a little later than I probably should have that first run, and got held up behind Hawk. Just couldn't pass him, heated up my tires trying to get past him, and when I finally did, he was able to keep up.
Definitely an earned win tonight. At this point, 3 races left in the season. What's the strategy? What's the goal for the next 3 races?
Oh, this race is huge for me. I was sitting outside the top 20. I'm sure a minute now, but this season just had a run of bad luck after bad luck. And I know we've had strong cars every single week, but it's really good to show all the hard work that we put into it. And yeah, pretty much it was just luck tonight for the win, to be honest. Just blind luck, but it was fun.
Joey Brown, you got a lot of sponsors on your car. Who makes it work for you, my friend?
Farley Electrical for sure. It's my grandpa's electrical company. He built the sim chassis I'm running right now, and it's pretty legit. It looks like a real roll cage and everything. Like to thank GFR. GFR really helped out this week. We kind of did a team effort making up the setup. Nicholas Morris, Chris Overland, my spotter. Kind of added Chris last week, and he's really shown potential. And just really glad to have him on board. My mom, my dad, most of all my wife. I don't know if y'all know, but I just got married about a month ago. So for her to let me spend the time I do to be fast and competitive and just let me race, it's an awesome thing. I'm really happy to have her.
The honeymoon continues for Mr. and Mrs. Brown as Joey Brown gets a big win here at Atlanta. Joey Brown driving the number 12 Farley Electrical Chevrolet. Good finish tonight, sir, and we look forward to seeing you in the next 3 races.
Thanks, guys.
Tim Terry's caught up with our second place finisher, the driver, the 01 Ford Fusion. That's Tyler Hudson.
It's probably about as close as you get to winning your first race without winning your first race. Tyler Hudson, talk about that last lap.
Man, that was insane. I hope the people watching and you guys enjoyed it and had a good view of it. I don't even know what to say. Honestly, I'm just bummed. I'm really bummed. It could be that close when you hadn't won a race, but you've ran good in the series and with these guys outside the series, and you've won anything else on the service, and then come that close. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. You can look at the positives and take that forward, and we'll move on.
Let's talk a little bit about that last lap. A little contact with the 53 going down into corners 1 and 2 after the 53 and the 12 went side by side in front of you, and then you threw it all on the line going into corner number 3.
Yeah, I couldn't really close on those guys because I put some tape on at the last pit stop, which probably wasn't the right move because I could have ran with them without the tape, I think. But anyways, so I just had to lay back there, and I kept debating with myself and crew chief, like, I don't know if I should go or just hope they get together or what. And then 5 to go, I just said, screw it, I'm going, and started running back down. They got side by side, and when they touched, I saw Joey go up to the wall. I knew he was probably done, and the 53 moved up the track, and I'm like, here it is. The spotter's yelling, go low, go low. So I stick it in there, and he comes down, of course. I mean, I don't blame him. That's just racing. And then it knocked me to the apron, and from there, I saw Joey coming, and I wanted to turn back up and block in front of him, but I really couldn't because on the apron it was just so loose. And then in 3, I knew I just had to do something if I was going to win the race. Being that close, I just went in there and tried to get to Joey's bumper. I got it a little bit, but he hung on and won the race, so it's a good deal for him.
Now, the second place finish will put you closer to second place in the standings when you include the drop. Brian Schoenberg finishes 11th this evening, but Marcus Lindsay finishes 41st. So it should definitely put you in position number 3 when you look at the drop. How big are you thinking points for at least a runner-up spot heading into these final couple shows?
Well, when some stuff happened and we kind of fell out of the points lead by missing a race, I mean, after that, it really doesn't matter. It's just wherever we finish is wherever we finish. I don't really care anymore. I mean, I want to do good, but as long as we're in the top 10 or top 20, that's all that matters. And so we'll just go out there and try to get a top 5 finish in the points. But I mean, it is what it is.
Next week, or 2 weeks' time, I should say, we head to the Chicagoland Speedway. Have you done any testing there? What do we expect of the 01 team?
No, not yet, but we got we kind of regrouped the team, kind of rebuilt it from after we missed that race in DWC a few weeks ago, and things are looking really good, obviously, with the run of night. So, you know, I'm sure we'll be quick there, and the rest of the season, I'm excited about it.
You got some sponsors on the car, and you mentioned that team. Who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, the guys that won up, all the guys put in a ton of work this week. And of course, Jared Crawford, the main setup guru, he put about an hour a night in that car since Michigan. So he worked his freaking tail off. And big thanks to him and all the other guys for all their hard work. And my sponsor is AdaSignWraps.com. You know, my wife Lisa for letting me do this stuff as much as I do it. And you guys for the broadcast, and iRacing for just an awesome game that we all love.
That's Tyler Hudson coming home in position number 2, and Joe Cortez has caught up with the driver that was running up here in the top 3 and will end up coming out with a 23rd place finish out of all this. Joe Cortez has caught up with Brandon Hawk.
Brandon Hawk was looking at a big win here tonight, being the first Canadian to win a NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship race, but is going to end up far, far away from that. Brandon, from where you were sitting, what happened out there?
Really, I couldn't tell you, because all I was focused on was hitting my marks up ahead of me and really just trying to keep Joey and Tyler in my mirror. I just sailed it off into the corner as hard as I could, and then we made contact. But, you know, it's kind of expected with how hard we racing each other for all those laps.
Definitely a lot of hard racing out there. I know you and Tyler made some contact at the end there in turns number 1 and 2. What did you see from your rearview mirror that right before that and going through that?
Just for me, I was just thinking recover, get down, and I should have known better. There wasn't enough time to get down. I just got a little bit selfish there, just trying to get the win. I should have been patient and known that in the future I got a lot more chances at a win than just.
Coming home in 23rd, you've got to be incredibly disappointed with your finish, Brandon. What are the emotions you're feeling right now? What are you going through as after this race is over and the aftermath starts to sink in?
Well, you know, there's a little bit of everything, because honestly, there's disappointment from obviously the finish, but at the same time, there's a sense of an accomplishment there from how strong I ran. And I just got to say, the car was on rails right from the get-go. I got to thank Brody and Kevin and Marcus back on the team for help.
So as a Pro Series driver, you've absolutely made a big statement tonight. Is this just a hint of things to come for hopefully your debut in the World Championship Series next week? Or I'm sorry, next week, but next year?
Yeah, hopefully. It's definitely looking to hopefully contend for a spot in the DWC Series next season. But yeah, this will definitely be good. I've been running these races to try and get a sense of what it would be like and try to kind of practice for next season. So hopefully I can get ready and know what to expect. But yeah, definitely, hopefully we'll carry some momentum into the Pro.
Brandon, who makes it work for you out there?
Just everybody back on the team. Kevin King, Brody Kosecki, like I said, Marcus Lindsay, Christian Pedersen, just everybody that puts in work on the car. Week in, week out, I feel like I've always got a race-winning car. You know, being a Pro Series driver and always being able to contend for a top 5 spot every week in DWC, it's fun.
He is the man that would be king, but instead is having to tow his car home the hard way. Brandon Hawk finishing 23rd on the field. Brandon, sorry about your tough luck, but I'm sure we have not heard the last from you. Tim Terry's caught up with your third place finisher, Jared Crawford.
And at the end of it, it was a distant third-place finish. Jared, did you expect this race to go green from about lap 15?
No, not at all. I didn't expect that. I think there was someone made a post on Facebook asking how many cautions there'd be, and the general consensus was right around about 10. So I was kind of shocked to see that.
When you look at this race, though, that 83 car ran well this evening, coming home with a top 3 finish. I know you wanted a little bit more out of this car, though. It ran so well.
We were 30 tape the whole race, and apparently everyone around me was 40 tape. So it's just silly of me, I guess, to not run 40 tape, but I was afraid it'd blow up, and apparently it didn't. So I should have ran more tape, and I would have been up there in the mix with those 3 guys up front.
Now, I know with the pit strategy, we had some guys pit a little bit early, but it seemed like those guys that pitted in the middle of the sequence on those 2 stops really seemed to excel a little bit better.
Yeah, my car was, for whatever reason with this car, you can do 180 miles an hour through the corner and not bottom out, but you slow down 15 miles an hour, burn fuel off, and you just destroy the track with the splitter. And that was where I was, destroying the track with the splitter. So once my lap times fell into the 4s, I just decided to bring it in and put tires on it and try to get it off the track and free it up more. And it just, every run after about 35 laps, it just started eating the track. And I pit early to, I guess, get the best out of the tires.
Now, we look ahead to 2 weeks' time. Chicagoland Speedway, Tyler said that you've been putting in a whole lot of time this week on the Atlanta setup. How much time do you put into the Chicagoland setup to try to get this thing into victory lane?
I have no idea. I mean, since Michigan, I started about an hour a night just on Atlanta, and we were really, really happy with the car. Thought it would have been a lot better than it was tonight on the long run, but Tyler ran great with it, so we'll probably just take this car to Chicago and tweak off of it, and shouldn't take us too long.
I know you got some sponsors on the car and some guys that help you out each week to help get that set up to a top 3 run this evening. Who makes it happen for you?
This week it's One Up Motorsports with Tyler, Phil. Oh, there's too many guys for me to name off. It's just been kind of hard the past couple weeks, getting reacclimated with a new team and trying to figure out what everyone's tendencies are, when people want to test, who wants to test, who can help the most and stuff. And it's just been a hard couple weeks trying to figure out stuff. And I'm just glad we performed well to show them that, you know, we can figure this stuff out, and we are a team that's fast and here to stay.
That's Jared Crawford coming home this evening in position number 3 in car number 83. I believe Joe Cortez has caught up with Kevin King.
The banker from Brawley finishing 4th tonight. Kevin, you definitely had a strong car all night. Do you feel like you could have pushed it out for a stronger finish?
Yeah, I mean, that first run, I kind of drove through the field a little bit, and I got to within about a second of Joey, but I had just burned up my tires getting past some good drivers that I really had to wait till the next cycle of stops. But unfortunately, when I did that, I accidentally took off tape, and I just went to the back a little bit. So, yeah, I think I could have drove a little bit better. Car was definitely fast. It was as fast as those guys were running up front. I just made a little mistake there on pit road, taking some tape off, and it affected the performance in the long run for that next 50-lap stint.
Kevin, how much did pit strategy affect or make or break everybody's strategy out here and everybody's opportunity tonight?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at who pit first, they're always going to have an advantage, obviously, and sometimes that advantage is stretches, past just 1 or 2 stops. Jared pit a lot earlier than everybody else and was able to maintain his entire gap that he had on people and didn't really lose too much time. It's very hard to knock off tenths every lap, even on fresh tires, if a guy's been out there for 5 or 6, 7 more laps than you, being a second faster. So it definitely plays into the overall results. But I think you'll see that most people that finished where they were supposed to, they played typical strategy. I think Ray gambled a little bit and took 2, but I think overall he was in the same position or pretty close to that anyways. So for the most part, it didn't seem like it affected it too much.
A lot of competitive driving out there. Did this competitive driving force you to adjust your strategy at all coming into this race? And if so, how did it help? How did it force you to change your game plan throughout the race?
Well, I mean, the fortunate position I was in this race was mainly up front, so a lot of the guys around up front are typically guys who you can trust to be around you without getting too crazy. It's just when you go in the back of the field is when you start having to alter, strategies to try to leapfrog the guys that maybe you're not too comfortable racing around. But for the most part, it was just clock off laps and see where you ended up, and then pretty much just pit really close to the guys around you. If a guy behind you pit, it's actually a good thing for you. You stay out an extra lap and you start gaining, a tenth or two a lap for the next couple laps or so. So for the most part, it was really just mimicking and being conscious of the guys around you, not so much of the leaders if they're way ahead or guys are way behind, because the difference in speed of them catching was just a little too great. But the 2 or 3 guys around you in position are the ones you're most concerned with.
Kevin, who makes it work for you in the 29 team?
Everyone on the team. Brody, of course, he makes setups that are really, really fast. I think he's made probably like the last, 6 setups that have been potential winners for us. So we really appreciate his efforts and the ability to keep us up to speed. Marcus, of course, who of course had his unfortunate bad luck all season long. He's had good runs, and then today he gets a random blow up. Brandon Hawk, who I don't know if a lot of people know who he is, but he'll be up there. Obviously, he's pretty fast. Christian Peterson, who just jumped on the team, he's really fast that a lot of people don't really know about, I don't think. And of course, Alpine Stars, Razor, Tim at Tim's Corner, Disabled Racers, Murph Dog, and XboxCodes.com, and of course PSR TV to allowing us to do this. I haven't done this in a while. It's been like, 6 months since I've had an interview.
Kevin King finishing 4th tonight in the number 29 Alpine Stars Chevrolet. Hey, King, good run tonight, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
Tim Terry's caught up with your 5th place finisher and still points leader, Ray Alfala.
Ray Alfala started in 7th place this evening, finished in position number 5, but the story of the race, Ray, it seemed like you were almost like a yo-yo, up and down, back and forth throughout this race. Talk about 163 laps at Atlanta.
Yeah, it was pretty uneventful. I didn't know how good of a car we would have. I was just hoping for a top 5 and kind of got lucky with that wreck at the end and was able to sneak into 5th place.
Did you anticipate us going a majority of this race since about lap 15 caution-free? Sure.
I mean, we went forever green at Michigan as well, so it's not far-fetched for a race to go green for a long time in this series. As much as people like to say that it's a wreck fest or it's a joke or whatever, it's pretty enjoyable to race.
We seem to see a lot of new faces in this series the last couple of weeks. We saw Brandon Hawk running up front. I know you had a lot of laps running with Ashley Miller this evening in the 7. What do you think of this new crop of Pro Series drivers from the few races that they've been running up in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship?
Well, it's hard to say. We'll get to see them more next year, obviously, but it should be interesting just watching Pro. It's always an enjoyable experience every year watching to see who makes the top 20. And but I think guys like Brandon Hawk will be up there racing for wins and contending every week. So there should be a few really fast guys coming up next year.
I know points is a big thing for you. You're aiming for that 3rd championship. Brian Schoenberg finished 11th this evening. Marcus Lindsay had some tough luck. Tyler Hudson obviously up in the top 5 at the end of the race, finishing in the runner-up spot. With 3 races to go, with the drop, you're likely going to have around 50 or more points between you and whoever 2nd place ends up being. What are you thinking going into these next 3 races? Are we going out to try to win all 3, or are we just going to try and conserve this points championship?
Yeah, but there's 4 races left. Well, I don't know. I mean, I have a personal goal of finishing the top 5 in every race, so that'll be the goal, I guess, from now on. It doesn't really matter what anybody else does. So, but I think if I finish in the top 5 anyway, I can clinch the title. So that'll be the goal.
There's 3 races to go if you're looking to clinch the title in the last race, right?
Well, there's 3 races to go if we're looking to clinch before the last race.
I know you're looking at Chicagoland in 2 weeks' time as well. What are your prospects for Chicagoland?
Well, it'll have way less grip than Atlanta did, which will be good. And then we're gonna have after Chicago, we go to Kansas and Dover back to back for the first time in the series. So that'll be pretty interesting. We're gonna pretty much we're gonna run like 4 races in a month here towards the end of the season, and then we get 2 weeks off to Homestead. So that should be pretty fun.
I know you got some sponsors on this car, and I know you got a dedicated crew. Be sure to thank the guy on top of the box too, who makes it happen for you.
Yeah, that would be the Jew Chief, Harrison Weidlitz, who told me there was a wreck in turn 1 on the last lap, and I told him, hey, I'm already in turn 1, so where's the wreck? But no, Harry does a good job, and according to Jordan Hightower, I have like 92 sponsors on my car, so here we go. It's ProGeek Consulting and iRacing Brazil, Gary Mercer Trucking, Disabled Racers, the Eye Holder, Tim's Corner, Higgin Jakes, and JDR Graphics also. You know, of course, thank the guys at Drill Island J Show for their help on the setup this week. We struggled a little bit, but it was better than it was a couple of days ago. So, pretty good race in the end.
There is your champion from the last 2 seasons, finishing in position number 5 this evening, car number 2 of Ray Alfala. Joe Cortez, final thoughts before we send this off this evening. Fantastic race. One of the most exciting finishes we've ever seen in the series. I don't know how they're going to top it in 2 weeks.
I have no idea how they're going to top it or how they're even going to compare to it, but tonight's race was definitely a pinnacle race of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. These guys are definitely the best, some of the best drivers in the world, all coming together every 2 weeks. And if tonight's race was a prelude to what the next 4 races are going to be like to end the season, there's still going to be plenty of exciting racing yet to come. Stick with us. The best is yet to come.
This is going to be an exciting race down to the finish of this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. WCS.iRacing.com is the microsite for the World Championship Series, whether it's the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship or the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series on the roadside. That's WCS.iRacing.com. That's going to do it for us here this evening. So for our entire crew, Ilka Happala, Zach Stanko, Chuck Johnson, Matt Racing Kid Thomas, Ian Bushing, and Joe Cortez, my name is Tim Terry, saying we'll see you in 2 weeks' time when we say let's go racing from the Chicagoland Speedway. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.